So, welcome to my 4-week introduction to bliss or introduction to yoga. So every Monday on here, I'm going to be doing a 30-minute yoga session. So this morning we're going to do an introduction to Ashtanga. So if you have some space and a mat, that would be perfect. If you don't have a mat, then if you just try and kind of find a surface that is going to allow you some grip and maybe a little bit of cushioning for the hands, feet and the knees, that would be great. Apart from that, you don't need anything else, just yourself and maybe some water. So we're going to get started, and we're going to start seated first of all. Okay, so come and join me. I'm just going to pop a little bit of music on in the background, just fairly quietly. So before we start to move, all yoga kind of starts or is based around the breath. And Ashtanga Yoga in particular, the postures work in synchronization or in harmony with the breath. So we used a particular style of breath called the Ujjayi breath. So we're going to start by practicing that first before we start to move around the mats. So we just kind of come down to a seated position, a comfortable seated position, just making sure that the spine is nice and straight. Your hands are resting either onto your knees or onto the ground. And you can close your eyes. Maybe just take a few shoulder rolls just to relax the neck and shoulders before you start. If you prefer, you can keep your eyes open. So with the Ujjayi breath, it's kind of like an ocean wave-like breath, so it creates a little bit of sound. So you're going to start by inhaling through the nose, and with the mouth just gently or softly closed, you're going to exhale from the back of the throat, being more forceful with your exhale breath, so it creates sound. So the sound it creates as you exhale is like the sound of waves, or a hissing, or even a Darth Vader style breath. So I just want you to practice breathing in that way. So breathing in through the nose, breathing out from the back of the throat. So a couple more times. So we try and continue to breathe in that way all the way through the practice. When you first start doing Ashtanga or Vinyasa or any more kind of active style of yoga, you may find this is quite an unusual way to breathe. So the main thing that I ask for today, at least, is that you make sure you don't hold your breath. But I will keep trying to remind you to come back to that Ujjayi breath as often as you can. Okay, so we're going to start standing. So you're going to come up onto your feet. I'll always see what's on the screen. So we're going to start with sun salutations. So we have two different variations of sun salutations in this practice. Variation A, variation B. Okay, so I'm going to do the slightly modified or kind of lower level version. For those of you that have done this practice before, you may want to go for the slightly higher option. Okay, so we stand up towards the top of the mat, bringing our feet towards each other, shoulders roll down and away from your ears, tuck the tailbone under, so we're standing nice and tall and our arms are by our side. First of all, we take an inhale breath, reaching our arms up, palms towards the centre, gazing up towards the hands. Then we exhale down, folding forwards and bringing our hands down towards our feet. Just allowing the head and shoulders to hang down towards the ground. If you're not quite reaching the floor, you can reach and press your hands onto your shins, down towards the ankles. Then find a spot where you can comfortably reach your hands. So then from here, we're going to lift the head and shoulders and chest up slightly. So we bring our shoulders so that they become level with your hips, the halfway lift. And on your next exhale breath, we're going to bring the hands back down, bend the knees, and step the feet back. So we come into our high plank. Hands stacked under the shoulders, legs extended behind. So I'm going to bring the knees down to the ground, but you can stay onto the toes for this high plank. And then we lower down into our chaturanga. So about halfway down, and then dropping the hips to the ground and lifting the chest up into cobra. Drawing the shoulders down and away from your ears and gazing up. So we're lengthening through the neck, stretching all the way through the back of the body. Now tucking your toes under, we're going to lift into the downward facing dog, gently rolling back into the heels. So our hands are about shoulder width distance apart, our feet are about hip width distance. And I'm just going to take a few walks or pedals with the heels just to release out the back of the legs. So we bend and stretch from the right to the left side, just to release out the back of your legs. And then pressing both heels down. So this is a good opportunity to practice the Ujjayi breath again. So focusing on breathing in through the nose, exhaling from the back of the throat, being slightly more forceful with your exhale breath, creating that sound, so that ocean-like, wave-like sound as you exhale. So to exit this pose and to bring our feet back towards our hands, you're going to lift up onto your toes as high as you can, then crouch the bottom back towards the heels. So I'm going to use this kind of crouch position to try and spring my feet towards the hands in as many steps as I need. So I push the hips back and then we step the right foot and then the left foot. You may make it back in one step, or you might need to take several. Just take as many as you need. Then we deepen our forward fold, so either hands to the floor, shins, or wherever you can reach. Relax the head. And when you're ready to inhale, lift the body and the arms up, and we exhale, bring the hands to center. So we're going to do that one more time. So inhale, reach the arms up. Exhaling into a forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. And then we exhale and step our feet back. So hands under the shoulders, legs extended back. Pop the knees down, or you can stay on the toes if you prefer. Lower halfway, chaturanga. We drop the hips and lift the chest, drawing the shoulders down and away from your ears. And tucking your toes under, coming back into a downward facing dog. So if you feel like you need to, you can continue to paddle the heels for a little bit longer here. Or we can just hold and press the heels down. Again, don't worry if your heels are not completely flat to the floor. Just encourage them to go as close to the ground as you can. Breathing in through the nose and exhaling out from the back of the throat, the Ujjayi breath. So to exit from here, to bring our feet back to our hands, we're going to lift up onto the toes, crouch the bottom back towards the heels, and try and spring your feet forwards in as little steps as you can. You can always try a little jump through to the hands if you prefer. So folding the body down a little bit deeper, then we inhale, lift the arms up, coming all the way up to standing, bring the hands back to heart center. So I'm going to go into Sun Salutation B this time. So your feet are together, knees and shins towards each other. So we're going to lower the hips down as if you're going to sit down and extend the arms up into chair pose. So either hands shoulder width or palms together. Then we exhale down into our forward folds. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, take a step back. So we're coming back into that high plank. So if you want to give it a try, you can always try your chaturanga on the toes, but please feel free to pop the knees down if you need to. So we inhale from the chaturanga up into our cobra or upward facing dog with the knees and thighs off the ground. Then we're exhaling back to downward facing dog. So from here, we're going to step the right foot through to the hands. Just take as big a step forward as you can. Pivot your left heel to center, lift the chest and extend the arms up. Bending your right knee, warrior one. So chest and hips are facing towards the right leg and we're bending our right knee. If you can, press the palms together, but if that doesn't feel good for your shoulders, stay here. Now we release the hands back down. So finding the ground with your palms, push the feet back into your high plank first. I'm going to pop the knees down onto the toes. Chaturanga. Lift the chest, stretch out the back. Then we exhale back into our downward facing dog. Left side. So you're going to step your left foot as far towards the left hand as you can. So take a big step. Then pivot the right heel to center. Lift the chest, extend the arms up. So if your left foot didn't make it that far forwards, you could always widen the stance from here. So bending your left knee, chest and hips facing towards that left side. Hold and breathe just for a moment, and we release the hands back down to the ground. Stepping your left foot back into your high plank. Popping the knees down to 3/4, chaturanga. Then lifting the chest up to cobra, and then we come back to downward facing dog. So traditionally we would hold downward facing dog for up to 5 breaths. I'm going to shorten that a little bit today. This is only a slightly shorter variation of the practice. So just taking one more deep breath in through the nose, exhaling from the back of the throat, then lifting up onto the toes, crouch down towards the heels. And I would like you to spring your feet up towards your hands, deepen your forward fold. Now as you inhale, start to lower the hips first and extend the arms up, coming back into chair pose. And then we exhale, release back to standing. So you're going to do that same sun salutation one more time. Feet together. So we inhale to chair pose. Exhale into our forward fold. Inhale to our halfway lift. Then exhaling, stepping back. So this is quite a long exhale breath. Knees or toes, chaturanga. And then we inhale to lift to cobra. Exhaling back into your downward facing dog. When you're ready to inhale, stepping your right foot through, left heel pivots, and we lift. So you can always take an extra breath here. When you're ready to exhale, bring the hands down, step the right foot back, knees or toes, chaturanga, and then we inhale to lift the chest to cobra, exhaling back to downward facing dog. So coming onto your left side this time. So this is quite an intense sequence. You should feel warmer, maybe breathing a little bit heavier. So left foot stepping through to the hands, right heel pivots to center. Lift to warrior one. The remainder of the sequence we're actually going to do is far more static than this. So this is quite a lot of movement in one go. So releasing your hands back down, step back, pop the knees onto the ground, chaturanga. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale back to downward facing dog. Pressing back into the heels. So even just practicing a few rounds of the sun salutation A and B can be a great morning practice, a great way to get your body moving. Stretching through the hips, shoulders, spine. Strengthening the arms with the chaturangas. And lifting up onto your toes and then crouching back towards your heels. Springing your feet through to your hands. And bringing your feet as close to the hands as you can. And coming back into a forward fold. When you're ready to inhale, lower the hips. Extend the arms up into chair pose. And then we exhale, bring the hands to center. So if you have some water with you, now will be a good time just to grab a little sip So we're going to come into some of our standing postures. So stepping your feet, so I've moved slightly, you guys can stay exactly where you are. So stepping your feet about hip width distance apart, you're going to fold down, allow your arms just to go to wherever they reach. If you can, I'd like you to try and create a bind around your big toes. So index finger and third finger around, thumbs on top. Just allow the head, shoulders, body to hang down towards the ground. You should be able to move your head quite freely, side to side, or up and down, so like you're nodding yes or no. So really relax the back of the neck. Now lifting the chest up slightly, releasing the big toes, and if you can, even if it's just your fingertips, or if it's more of the palms, see if you can bring your palms under your feet. So we do a wrist release. After all of those chaturangas and work on the hands with the sun salutations, we want to release the wrists. So if you're only just on the fingertips, just try and bend your wrist and take your wrist down towards the ground. So if it's not quite making it all the way, just try and encourage it as low as you can. Then relax the head, so we can lengthen the back of the neck. If you're nowhere near this point, you can just reach to the shins, the ankles. So the intention of this introduction was to show you that even though this practice has some quite challenging postures in it, it can be adapted and made suitable for a variety of levels, a variety of levels of flexibility as well. So slowly lifting up. So don't want you to be put off, and I would encourage anyone to give it a try because it is quite an adaptable form of yoga. It's a great way to introduce you to yoga as well as give you that little bit of extra challenge for the strength side of it as well. Okay, so from here we're going to step the feet together and up towards the top of the mat. We're coming into the triangle pose. So you're going to step your right foot back, not too wide a stance, about just slightly wider than shoulder width. And then we bring the left heel round, so the toes are pointing inwards, and the right foot turns out. So you're facing completely the opposite way. Extend the arms either side of the shoulders. So just check in either side that you're not kind of too high one side, too low the other, about level. Then you're going to lean and reach towards your right side. So like you're leaning towards a shelf. We place that right hand down just below the knee, middle of the shin, ankle, or bind around the big toe. Don't worry too much about how far down your hand is. It's more important that your left shoulder is pressing back, the chest is open and out to the front, and we're able to extend that left arm up. Your head and neck, we can either be looking straight ahead, down to the ground, or if possible, I'd like you to look up towards your left hand. So the triangle pose, you should be able to feel this all the way down the left side of your waist. So if you're feeling it more in the legs, it might be that you're allowing your shoulder and your chest to round inwards. So imagine that you have a brick wall behind you or a wall behind you, and you're trying to press your shoulder blades towards that wall. Okay, let's lift up slowly, coming back up to the centre. So we're going to pivot the right foot in about 45 degrees, turn the left foot out. Extend the arms either side of the shoulders, and I'd like you to lean towards the left this time. So like you're leaning towards a shelf. So leaning towards the left, releasing that left hand down to the shin, ankle, right arm extends up towards the ceiling. So again, find that wall behind you. Try and press your shoulder blades into the wall so you feel a stretch down the right side of your body. Either gazing up or just ahead. Breathing in through the nose and exhaling out from the back of the throat so that you draw your breath. Slowly lifting up. Arms out to the side, and I'd like you to step your right foot back in towards the left. Bringing your arms back by your side. So we're going to do one more standing posture before we'll do a couple more standing postures actually, before we do a short relaxation. So coming into warrior two. This time you're going to step a lot wider. So I'd like you to step your right foot out, come to quite a wide stance, especially if you've got long legs. You're going to pivot the left foot in and turn the right foot out. Extend the arms either side of the shoulders. Again, just have a quick check that you haven't got one arm up here or one arm down here. Try and keep it as level as you can. Turn and look towards your right hand. Bend your right knee and lunge. So coming into our warrior two lunge. So try and kind of level your body off. Keep your chest and shoulders central. Then we bring the forearm down to the thigh and we bring our left arm by our ear and cheek. Now, I'm not technically part of this sequence, but if this shoulder's feeling a little bit tight, maybe just take a few circles just to release the shoulder so it sits a little bit nicer by the side of your ear and cheek. This is warrior two to wide side angle pose. And the more we can bend this right knee, the more we're going to feel that stretch in the hips and also strengthen the legs. Okay, pushing up and back to the center, pivot the right foot round, and let's turn the left foot out this time. So extending the arms either side of the shoulders, bend your left knee this time, lunge. So watch that your body's not leaning. Try and keep the body to the center. So we actually lunge rather than lean for this side or for this variation. Bringing your forearm to your thigh and sitting your right arm by your ear and cheek. So if that shoulder's just not quite sitting right, maybe just take a few circles just to release the shoulder so it sits a little bit neater to your body, and see if you can bend your left knee just a bit more, pressing the shoulders back, opening out the chest. Breathe. Okay, so we come back up. I'm going to take you straight into a wide forward bending stance. So if your feet have gone really wide, then just bring them a bit closer together. So from here, we're going to tip forwards from the hips, bringing our hands down towards the ground, allowing the head to just head and shoulders to hang forwards. Now lifting the head, shoulders and chest. Just take your arms out to the side for me. You have two options here. We can either rest the hands onto the hips, just try and gently squeeze the elbows towards the center, or for a deeper shoulder release, take the hands behind the back, interlace your hands so they're like this, and then squeeze the shoulder blades together. Bring your head and shoulders down. Try and bring the arms over the top with you. So if your hands are on your hips, we're squeezing the shoulder blades towards each other, bringing the crown of the head down towards the ground. So there's a little bit more emphasis on the legs because we haven't got the support of the hands now. We're going to use the muscles on the strength of the legs to hold and support us a bit more. And lifting all the way back up. And then from here, stepping your feet together, back up towards the top of the mat. Now feel free to find a different way down to the ground if you prefer. But I'm going to bring you into chair pose and then start to lower you down towards the ground. But if you prefer just to come down to seated in a more controlled way that's more comfortable for you, that's fine. So we're going to come down to the ground. So we lower the hips, extend the arms up. We're going to lower it down, keep going. Maybe lift onto the heels and then slowly lower down onto your bottom. Little bit of core work before we lie down, the boat pose. So we extend the arms up, lean back, either lifting one leg off the ground or both legs. And to begin with, I would start with the knees bent. To make it a little bit stronger, we can straighten the legs, but you can stay with the knees bent. Then from here, we're going to lower down super slow, come all the way down to the ground. And I'd like you to just bend your knees. Bring the heels towards the hips. So this is not technically an Ashtanga posture, but we're going to, before we come into our short relaxation, we're going to finish with a twisting posture. So bringing your knees up and your feet off the ground, you're going to take your knees towards the right side. Using your right hand just to gently encourage the left knee a bit closer towards the right. And we turn the head and look over the left shoulder. So your left arm is reaching out to the side. So normally there would be twisting style postures in the Ashtanga sequence. So because we're doing a shortened variation today, I've just included this twist at the end. Great for stretching out of the sides of the glutes into the lower back and into the spine. And come back to the centre. Take the knees to the left. So the knees go across the left. Use your left hand just to gently encourage that right knee a bit closer to the left, or just to apply a little bit of pressure to increase the twist. Turn and look over your right shoulder this time. And then slowly bring the head back to the centre, followed by the knees. Feet back to the ground. Bring your arms just by your sides, and I'd like you to stretch your legs out. So coming into the corpse pose for our relaxation. So bring yourself into this position here for me. Laid on your back, arms by the side of your body, palms facing up. The feet are slightly apart. And we close our eyes. Just for the last minute or so. And I would always recommend adding this posture into the end of your practice. It's a good way to close the practice, give you a little bit of chance to rest and bring your body into a more neutral position before you end your yoga practice. So with the eyes closed and the body relaxed, just allow your arms, your legs, the front and the back of your body to soften and relax into the ground. We let go of the ujjayi breath and we work towards a softer, more relaxed breath. So enjoy this opportunity to just be still, breathe, before you carry on with the rest of your day. Now take a deep breath in through the nose and exhaling out from the mouth. So sighing out your exhale breath. So deep breath in through the nose, exhale out through the mouth. Just a couple more times. So deep breath in through the nose, exhale out through the mouth. And deep breath in through the nose, exhale out through the mouth. And start to move the hands and the feet. So wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes. And I encourage you to take a full body stretch. So reaching your arms above your head, stretching out your toes. So like you're trying to make yourself as long as possible. And slowly bring the knees to the chest. Wrap your arms around the sides or the tops of the knees and just give them a hug. Maybe gently sway side to side. And when you're ready, make your way back up to seated. So coming up to a seated position, either with the legs crossed or the legs stretched out to the front. We take a stretch up with the arms, so inhale breath, reach the arms up above the head, bring the palms together, exhale, hands to centre. Take a bow to the front. And release. Thank you for joining me, guys. So today's session is part of a 4-week series. So introduction to bliss, to yoga. So today I did an introduction to Ashtanga Yoga. Quite a short variation of it with the sun salutations, a few of the standing postures, and then a short relaxation at the end. So next Monday, I'm going to do an introduction to yin yoga and an introduction to stillness. So we will work through a series of yin yoga poses, and I will take you through some guided meditations as you're doing that. So if you've never tried yin before, it's a really good opportunity to give it a try. I'll let you know if you need any pillows, cushions, or any props beforehand. So that's next week. This is also streamed live on Instagram as well. So I will be doing an introduction to Ashtanga, as I've done today on Thursday on Instagram Live at 6:45. So if you just caught now and you've not caught it live, and evening is the better for you, you could always join me on Instagram Live. But this will stay up on the page. So for any of you who haven't been able to join me live this morning for the whole thing, you can practice it anytime you want. It will stay up on this page for you to use. All right, have a great Monday, great week, whatever you're doing, and I hope to catch you at some point soon.